Hello there, and welcome wherever you may be on the planet of Total Doom. Today I've got several passages from Gurdjieff. They are mostly technical, but not all. Here in the UK, the weather's quite warm now, and the entire country is falling apart. So let's get going. Gurdjieff. Are we able to say that we observe in life a preponderance of the best, the strongest and the most courageous elements? Nothing of the sort. On the contrary, we see a preponderance of vulgarity and stupidity of all kinds. Are we able to say that aspirations towards unity, towards unification, can be observed in life? Nothing of the kind, of course. We only see new divisions, new hostility, new misunderstandings. So that in the actual situation of humanity, there is nothing that points to evolution. We see quite clearly a growth of personality at the cost of essence. That is, a growth of the artificial, the unreal, what is foreign, at the cost of the natural, the real, what is one's own. Together with this, we see a growth of automatism. Contemporary culture requires automatons, and people are undoubtedly losing their acquired habits of independence and turning into automatons, into parts of machines. It is impossible to say where is the end of all this and where the way out, or whether there is a way out. One thing alone is certain: man's slavery grows and increases. Man is becoming a willing slave. He no longer needs chains. He begins to grow fond of his slavery, to be proud of it. Everything I have said till now I have said about the whole of humanity, but as I pointed out before, the evolution of humanity can proceed only through the evolution of a certain group, which in its turn will influence and lead the rest of humanity. Are we able to say that such a group exists? Perhaps we can on the basis of certain signs, but in any event we have to acknowledge that it is a very small group, quite insufficient to subjugate the rest. Let me just say some things here. When Gurdjieff talks about unity, he doesn't mean it in the sense that we are all equal and we should all live in each other's houses. Gurdjieff's unity is based on the stratification of everything. That includes the 7 continents, 7 races, who all live in their own countries, on their own. In the same way, when you've got a set of paints, you have 7 colours or maybe 49, and they stay in their own paint pot. Anything else is disastrous and is normally inflicted upon people by America in order to break people and take their money, and other countries like America. Whereas in China, they are 99% yellow Han Chinese race, and they push it. So the unity that Gurdjieff is talking about is the unity of the foundations, the walls and the roof, a unity formed of 3 parts stuck together. Anyway, I was in the kitchen the other day and I was noticing my vision. It's a strange thing to observe yourself like this, but as I perceive the world using my vision, my eyes, I don't feel what's out there. My feelings are not involved. Vision, well, it's more like it helps me not bump into the wall because I can see where it is. In other words, it helped me physically navigate through the world. Which is quite strange because vision is light, but actually the greatest effect seems to be to the physical body. The original physical body, the original moving center, didn't need light. The hands feel and understand things on their own. When you're climbing a wall, you feel your way. The body learns. But this is lost in our world of light. And one of the goals of real methods of evolution is to strengthen and regain the moving center as it was before. In other words, the power of the moving center. The power of the moving center in its pure form. And as I see, my mind is seeing and then drags the body through the world. The mind has become activated by what we call light. As I receive the light of vision, it feels like it is inside my head as well. There's a unity between my head, my presence in the head, and the light itself. I think that must be the experience of the mental body. But the insight I had is that what an ordinary person is experiencing is they navigate the body on the basis of what they see through their vision. In addition to that, they have this movement of the mind, they call it, which is mostly the many eyes, and they don't have much in the way of feeling. From my point of view, it's like there's a very large empty space that is unused, and that's what human beings are. They don't use and they don't develop very large areas of their capacities, particularly their feelings or their emotional systems. One of the most important things about what's called religion is simply the development of your emotional system using various methods. Prayers, Christian prayers, is a cycling of feelings through the imagery. And if you do that, you become developed. And it's through the feeling system, through serious development, not just feeling stuff, but through directed development of feelings, that new capacities grow and the feelings start to interact with your mental thought and improves it. It gives it more power from a different system. And the absence of feelings is also causing a very wide deterioration of both thought and the functions of the body, which is shrinking in modern people. I just saw something quite interesting. I had to get up from the table. I guess I was a bit tired and distracted, and there was resistance. And I could see that the driver was pushing the horse to move. And when the horse moved, everything moved, and I got up. Why was the horse tired? Well, I conclude that the entire thing is about feelings. The way human beings live, they completely ruin their feelings all the time. They fill them with junk, they use them in the wrong way, they're parasiting energy from one side to the other, the wrong work, as Gurdjieff says. And it's not about stopping doing something or starting doing something. No. There is no knowledge inside human society of using feelings. The only thing that there remains in the West is prayer. It's not about starting to do something. You have no ability to do what is necessary. You would have to learn it. If we look at the people who are interested in Gurdjieff, how many of them had any methods at all? In the West, there isn't even a model of what it looks like to be religious anymore. Whereas in the East, you have yogis, you have qigong doctors, you have a respect for the patriarchy and for the old wise men, poets. But these Gurdjieff people, they may talk, they may read, but if you have no method, how are you going to do anything with these words? You cannot. And this is a small section on Gurdjieff's chemistry. The four aspects or states of every substance have definite names. When a substance is the conductor of the first or the active force, it is called carbon. And like the carbon of chemistry, it is designated by the letter C. When a substance is the conductor of the second or the passive force, it is called oxygen, and like the oxygen of chemistry, it is designated by the letter O. When a substance is the conductor of the third or neutralizing force, it is called nitrogen, and like the nitrogen of chemistry, it is designated by the letter N. When a substance is taken without relation to the force manifesting itself through it, it is called hydrogen, and like the hydrogen of chemistry, it is designated by the letter H. The active, the passive, and the neutralizing forces are designated by the figures 1, 2, 3, and the substances by the letters C, O, N, and H. These designations must be understood. I was contemplating if I was able to experience the strange magnetic currents of vision that Beelzebub mentioned. Whenever I try to, first of all, I hear the sound of the mental body as it becomes activated. There is a sense that the light of the world, that it's slightly electromagnetic. As Gurdjieff described, what we see, or the world if you like, is the motive force of our life that causes our existence. And when people talk about the world, they're talking about this movement. And for most people, they know only the outside. And those events cause rippling on the surface of our soul, and yet nothing has really changed inside of us. And to do that, you need to perform those ancient religious methods. The only thing that gives me strength is the hours of forceful, intense traditional methods that I do. When I do them, I feel fine, I feel like I'm going somewhere, but everything else is bullshit. You hear people on the internet talk about spirituality, they're not doing anything. Gurdjieff said the numbers are few. The fragmentation of human life is at such an extreme level that there is nothing else to do but to recover the initial spirit. Listening to society as you may do today, you're listening mostly to the voices of the Shudras who've broken free in the fragmentation and materialization of the world. The world situation doesn't look very good. Now there's a section from Gurdjieff on octaves reversing. The law of the octaves shows why straight lines never occur in our activities. Why, having begun to do one thing, we in fact constantly do something entirely different, often the opposite of the first, although we do not notice this, and continue to think that we are doing the same thing that we began. Such a course of things, that is, a change of direction, we can observe in everything. After a certain period of energetic activity or strong emotion, or a right understanding, a reaction comes. Work becomes tedious and tiring. Moments of fatigue and indifference enter into feeling. Instead of right thinking, a search for compromises begins, suppression, evasion of difficult problems. But the line continues to develop, though now not in the same direction as at the beginning. Work becomes mechanical, feelings become weaker and weaker, descends to the level of the common events of the day, thought becomes dogmatic, literal, everything proceeds in this way for a certain time, then again there is a reaction, again a stop, again a deviation, The development of the force may continue, but the work which was begun with great zeal and enthusiasm has become an obligatory and useless formality. A number of entirely foreign elements have entered into feeling, considering, vexation, irritation, hostility. Thought goes round in a circle, repeating what was known before, and the way out, which had been found, becomes more and more lost. The same thing happens in all spheres of human activity. In literature, science, art, philosophy, religion, in individual and above all in social and political life, we can observe how the line of the development of forces deviates from its original direction and goes after a certain time in a diametrically opposite direction, still preserving its former name. A study of history from this point of view shows the most astonishing facts which mechanical humanity is far from desiring to notice. The law of octaves explains many phenomena in our lives which are incomprehensible. First is the principle of the deviation of forces. Second is the fact that nothing in the world stays in the same place, inevitably develops or goes down, weakens or degenerates, that is to say, it moves along either an ascending or descending line. Gurdjieff's explanations are fascinating, but I know from my own intense work on myself that the only real way to solve this problem, no, it's not to remember myself. No, it's not. You have to learn, you have to develop the pattern of the octave inside of yourself so it becomes like an inner machine. You have to learn how to begin, middle, and end. That happens in many of the sequences that are taught in the religions that are there. You're taught the cycle until it goes in. You're taught it physically, emotionally. Even something like location is symbolic of the Trinity. Until they become woven with your entire emotional or physical system. Until you are following the octave, consciously or unconsciously, you just do it and then things start working.
You know it's true. I do know you. I've seen miracles, but just you have to trust. Strength he brings, he is the key. All you do.
And now, a tale from Beelzebub. Besides the proprietor of the Chaikana, there were a number of other beings of the city of Gob who began unconsciously to help me, as they also had become an ardent supporter of my invention, namely the new religion that I had promoted, that loving animals would very much please their God. And soon all the beings of that second Asiatic group were eagerly spreading this new idea of mine and persuading each other that it was an indubitable truth that had suddenly been revealed to them. The result of it all was that in the country of Maral Placy, not only did sacrificial offerings diminish, but the beings of other forms even began to be treated with unprecedented attention. Such comical scenes were enacted there that, although I myself was the author of the invention, I found it difficult to refrain from laughter. We witnessed, for instance, farces such as these. A highly respectable and wealthy merchant would be riding to his shop one morning on his donkey. On the way, a motley crowd of beings would pull him off his donkey and maul him within an inch of his life for having dared to sit on it. Then, bowing low before it, the crowd would escort the donkey wherever it chose to go. Or what is called a woodcutter would be hauling a load of wood from the forest to market with his oxen. He too would be dragged from his cart and beaten, and then the crowd would gently unyoke the oxen and escort them ceremoniously wherever they wanted to go. And if all this happened in a part of the city where the cart might hold up traffic, the crowd would haul it to the market themselves and leave it there to its fate. This invention of mine soon led to the appearance of quite new customs in the city of Gobe, for instance that of placing troughs in the public squares and at all the street crossings where every morning the residents could leave their choicest morsels of food for dogs and other stray beings, and also the custom of going at sunrise to the Sea of Beneficence to throw in all kinds of food for the beings called fish. But the most peculiar of all was the custom of paying attention to the voices of one-brained beings and two-brained beings of various forms. As soon as your favourite heard the voice of a being of any other form, they would begin praising the name of their god and invoking his blessing. It might be the crowing of a cock, the barking of a dog, the mewing of a cat, the squealing of an ape. No matter what, it would always arouse them. It is interesting to remark here that on these occasions, for some reason or other, they would raise their heads and look upwards, even though, according to the teaching of their religion, their god and his assistants were supposed to exist on the same level as themselves, and not where they directed their eyes in prayers. It was extremely interesting to watch their faces at these moments. Everybody needs a religion. Sometimes it's a good one, sometimes not. I don't see much coming from this world, neither for myself, neither for people. So I perform those methods, diligently, arduously, very difficult sometimes. I suppose it's just my lot. I never had any interest in any of this when I was young, I can tell you that.
Then you never faced that situation. Faced death.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Kirk to Spock, it's 2 hours. Are you ready?
Right on schedule, Admiral. Just give us your coordinates and we'll beam you aboard.
All right. I don't like to lose.
Well, that's it for this week. What can I say but good luck?